Bill Bradley with The Daily, and I'm here with John from Bitter and Esters, and we're going to brew some beer.
The first thing we want to do, Bill, is we want to prepare our yeast. If you feel it, there's a little package inside the package that has yeast nutrients. This nutrient pack has to be broken, and then we're going to shake the pack up and let it sit while we're brewing. Okay. The first step is that we are heating up 2 gallons of water to 165 degrees, and then we are going to steep our specialty malt in this grain bag for a half hour. We're going to add a ½ ounce of Kent Golding hops during the steep as well. Start our timer, 30 minutes.
So what's the next step?
The next step is to get these grains out of here, so just grab the bag. And after that, we're going to add enough water to bring it up to 3 gallons and bring this wort to a boil.
Is the water going to boil like it does for a pot of pasta?
Well, it'll be similar, except that it'll actually foam up, something called hot break, which is binding of proteins that are in the malted barley. If it starts to boil over, you want to turn off the heat and let it calm down. You keep doing that until the proteins actually bind and it goes into a rolling boil. We turn off the heat and we add our dry malt extract, which is in our recipe kit. This is going to add a good portion of the sugar that the yeast will eventually eat and convert into alcohol.
Could I save some and add it to a milkshake later if I wanted?
Yes, you can if you want, but you'll have less alcohol in your beer. So okay, now we're at our boil. We're going to boil this for an hour, and we're going to add hops according to the recipe. We have 1 ounce of Galena at 60 minutes. We have a ½ ounce of Cascade at 45 minutes, a ½ ounce of Cascade at 15 minutes, and a ½ ounce of Kent Goldings at what we call flame out. And then we're going to cool the wort down to about 70-75 degrees before we add our yeast to it. At home, you would just take the entire brew pot and put it into a bath of ice and water. Here we're going to use what's called a wort chiller, an immersion wort chiller. At this point, when we're cooling it down, anything that touches our cool wort needs to be sanitized. We've just made a liquid petri dish, and we want to make sure that the only microbe that gets into there is our brewer's yeast. So our beer has been fermenting for 2 weeks and is now ready to bottle.
So this is the last step.
This is pretty much it. We've transferred our beer into our bottling bucket. We now take our sanitized bottling wand, take our sanitized bottle, pour out the sanitizer, take your bottle, and push it right up against there. All the way to the top. There you go. And just leave that little bit of headspace. And then put a cap on it. So Bill, that's all there is to home brewing. You can do it yourself at home. It's easy, it's delicious, it's fun. And I invite you back in 2 weeks to try this beer.
Thanks, John.
My pleasure.
Welcome back to BK Live. I'm Greg Johnson. We all know Brooklyn is NYC's borough for beer, from the Brooklyn Brewery to Six Point and brew pubs popping up on every corner. If you can't find it in Brooklyn, it ain't worth drinking.
Amen.
But did you know we're also blessed with a vast number of resources for making your own brew right at home? And there are even festivals celebrating how brothers and sisters are brewing it for themselves. That's in the script.
Wow. Okay, tomorrow, the second annual Pride of Brooklyn Homebrew Festival takes place at Littlefield in Gowanus. And here to tell us all about it is the founder, Casey Soloff. Welcome.
Thank you.
Very much a good thing to have you on the show. And you'll recognize him from that homebrewing video that you just saw, John LaPolla.
Thank you for having me.
He is the co-owner of Brooklyn's one-stop homebrewing shop, Bitters and Esters. And then there's somebody right here to my right who is doing just that, making brew in his own kitchen, Brooklyn homebrewer John Henderson.
Happy to be here.
Welcome, guys. John, tell us about, you know, those guys, they do it in like their shops and stuff, but you were like doing it in your house. So how'd you get into homebrewing?
A couple of years ago, I was going through the Christmas market at Union Square Cafe, and I saw Brooklyn Brew Shops had 1-gallon brew kits. And on a whim, I picked one up and took it back to the office and said, "Hey, I'm going to brew my own beer." And
they all laughed.
And they laughed, and that was the gateway drug
Breaking beer
that got me into brewing. And then 1 gallon batches led to 2 gallon batches, led to 3 gallon batches, led to 5 gallon batches. And I
You
was
put it
hooked.
all in your stomach.
All in my stomach. It was, I'm an engineer by training, and I like to cook, and I discovered that brewing was cooking with math. It was the greatest combination
We're looking
ever.
at pictures of it, right?
Yes, and I got to make my own stuff. I got to develop formulas and build spreadsheets that had would calculate what temperature of strike water you needed to take a certain amount of grain at a certain temperature to a certain temperature in the mash pot. So it was just as much fun as you could imagine.
Unbelievable.
And
Wow.
a lot of fun to do.
Wow. So probably not everyone approaches homebrewing with such mathematic precision, right, Casey? Like you know a lot of other homebrewers. I don't know, John. Like, is that your method? Is it so precise?
The cool thing about brewing beer, you can be as difficult or as easy as you want it to be. So you can make beer without really knowing much about what you're doing. You just follow instructions. And no, you really can. You can make excellent beer. But once you start making good beer, then you want to learn everything you can. You get super nerdy. And that's really fun. You know, you say spreadsheets, I say that's pretty nerdy.
Yeah, well,
I like
people
it.
are nerdy about wine. People are nerdy about beer. Casey, what's your involvement? I mean, how did you get involved in beer?
Well, I started
Start
a couple years
tasting
ago. Well, first of all, I'm a beer lover. You know, there's plenty of places in Brooklyn to check out all kinds of different beer. But a couple years ago, I started homebrewing. A friend of mine turned me on to it. I started to really enjoy doing it. And so eventually, I just wanted to kind of put on a festival to bring people together and to get different beers out there.
What is the festival like, and when is it?
It's
Tell us
pretty
again.
great. It's tomorrow. It's at Littlefield from 1 to 5.
It's a great venue.
Yeah, it is a great little venue, great concert venue, great comedy venue.
Here the stills
In
are on it.
Gowanus.
In Gowanus, yep, on DeGraw Street between 3rd and 4th.
Greg has actually performed there.
Oh,
as a
really?
comedian
I'm a
at
stand-up
Littlefield.
comedian,
Yeah.
but I'd be happy to come drink beer there too.
Oh, sure, sure, that's what it's for.
Tomorrow?
That's what it's for.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tomorrow. We've got 25 local home brewers coming. They've each got 5-gallon brews, different varieties, tons of different stuff. Really interesting beers.
It's great. Is John going to be there?
John just found out about
Just
it.
find out about it.
John, is there a brand that you brew at home that people can find out about, or like what?
No, like I said, it's like cooking, and I like to cook. And the great thing about brewing is, rather than if you make a really fancy meal, let's say you want to make beef Wellington or something, 4 or 6 people are going to enjoy that. I make a 5-gallon batch of beer, and the whole pipe band is going to enjoy that. So it's about making beer and then giving it away to your friends, and
Let's
so you're get to be
sample
popular.
some. Can you tell me what I'm about to drink?
What's this Kolsch, right?
This first one is a Kolsch that we made at our store, and I'm actually pouring this tomorrow at
Cheers.
Pride of
Eye
Brooklyn.
contact, eye
So
Okay.
contact.
I will be at Pride of Brooklyn. This
You
is
will.
a German style, which is a German style
Wait,
beer,
I
a
didn't
little
get to
bit
clink you. I didn't get
Clink,
to
let
clink
us
you.
clink. Skull.
So,
oh, whoa.
Bitter and
shoot it
Esters
down.
will be there at the festival tomorrow.
Oh, it's delicious.
And you can brew it yourself.
What's this one? Hefeweiss?
That's a Heffen?
You're just down it, Greg.
Oh, I don't know. I thought there was
Look at your glass and look at my glass, okay?
Let's talk about our
Put
guests.
some salt on your hand, lick it.
Is this glass
do the
half
shot.
full or half empty?
It's definitely half full.
Mine's definitely empty.
Okay.
Now, the next one is also a Hefeweiss that we made at my shop. And the interesting thing about this is that we use an enzyme to help reduce the gluten in it. So it's not gluten-free, but it's a gluten-reduced beer.
Okay, so tell me about, I was checking you out, of course, before you coming on, and I saw that there are yeast lectures, there is
yeah.
Homebrewing 101.
Yep.
If people they come tomorrow to the festival and they get all pumped, how can they learn from you and your
Well,
people?
we have a bunch of different classes from beginning to advanced. They can come to the store and check it out, or go to our website, bitterandesters.com, and we have a whole list of all the different classes. On top of that, we're also New York State's only brew on premises, meaning you can actually brew beer at the store without knowing how to brew beers. So you can come, we give you a brewmaster, and you make beer at the store, and that's really a lot of fun.
Brewmaster.
Yeah, you can have
Okay.
a party and make beer.
Like a
great
little
beer.
birthday party.
Like a big birthday party.
Big birthday
yeah,
party,
Yeah, we're trying to
okay.
keep it 21 and over. Yeah,
Okay.
we don't have too many
Cheers on
balloons.
this third one. What do you call this? John, is this one of yours?
This is one of mine.
Tell
this
me
is,
about it.
This is called Brick Brow, in honor of coming out here today.
Brick Brow.
Ooh,
Brilliant.
John,
Well,
so
here's-
sweet.
Well, the deal was I was brewing, once again, I tend to brew beer for events. So I am turning 50 next week, and so I brewed up a batch of beer for my birthday, and I didn't have a name for it. It was a nameless beer. It's the style guide would say that it's a Belgian blonde, but done with Scottish Golden Promise malt, so it's got a little more of a malt sweetness to it, and it's on a beer to guard yeast. So I said it needs a name. Brick Brow, absolutely.
Brick
Brow.
Brow. How does this start from start to finish? How long did it take, and what did you do?
It was
With Brick Brow.
It was a brew day like any other. It starts. It starts. I took to this on a Saturday. Started about 7 in the morning. Finishes about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then this fermented for 3 weeks, and then it's just been keg conditioning for a week. So it really needs a little more time to sleep, but.
That's a technical term.
Yes, but this is one of the few styles of beer my wife likes, and so since she has to put up with, as you see,
9 hours of brewing on a Saturday,
brewing on a Saturday, I tend to try to routinely brew a beer that she will like, so there's some in the house.
There you go, Brick Brow.
Wait, is it going to be Brick Barrow at Littlefield?
No, once again, just find out about it.
Yes,
That's bringing up a lot of animosity.
Okay, guys. Okay, so we got to go on to the next one, which is a Belgian Dark Strong.
Yes, and I brew this beer every year.
We have to cheers. I'm sorry, we have to cheers.
Oh, is that?
We have to cheers. We have to cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
So this beer gets brewed every year on the 10th of August.
This is like fruity and sweet and goodness.
Oh, hey, yes.
What's the yeast in this?
This may be the same Bierdegard yeast.
The same beer?
Yeah. So I brew this.
Nerdy talk.
Nerd
That's right.
talk.
I brew this every year on August 10th, and
It's delicious.
Oh, it's amazing.
so
I think it goes without saying I could talk about this all day, but since we only have a few minutes left, can we just wrap up? Can you tell us about the festival again?
We have this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You have
The
something
demo.
to show us,
So
John Henderson.
here's the thing: is let's say this beer brewing sounds interesting, but I'm just a person in my Brooklyn apartment. How can I do this? This is the 60 seconds on how to make your own cider.
Show
You
us.
go to the local green market. You get a gallon. This is a half gallon. Get a gallon of cider.
Okay.
This is no preservatives. It is UV treated. You want to have as little done to the cider as possible.
Okay.
And you take out some of the cider because when this ferments, it's going to
I'll take that.
need a little headspace in there.
This is my favorite segment of all time. I just want to.
Then
Mine too.
I take this. I take my package of yeast from my local provider.
Oh, okay.
Now, if we were at home,
Bitter
we would of
nesters.
course be rehydrating this in water at 105 degrees.
But we are not. We are at Brick
We're
Brow.
not, and we're unable to open up the yeast package. So
I'll do it. I'll
sharp
do it.
nails.
I'll do it. Okay, keep talking. Keep doing
So anyway,
Yeah.
we're gonna sprinkle some of this directly into here. We're gonna shake it up, get a little oxygen in the cider so the yeast can
Just
build
put
cell
yeast
walls.
in cider, shake it up.
And a week later, it's going to look like this.
Unbelievable.
And it's going to be hard cider. Which
That's how people can do it
Wow,
at
I
home.
feel like we need to.
Then they can enter the festival at Littlefield, right?
Yes.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
You prove it.
So trust me,
All right.
if we were able to open the yeast
We
package.
would, guys. This you need scissors for it, but people should go to the festival.
So imagine
and
I
have
had
fun.
imagine I had poured that yeast in here. I would then
Shake it up.
shake it up. I would sit it on my counter for a week, and then a week later, it will be this. You might want to put this on a plate or something because it may foam up just a little bit over the top, and
Unbelievable.
just cap that loosely or put a little
I
tin
love
foil
it.
over
People
the top.
can be brewing their own beer at home. They can join the festival. Where can people find you guys? We need to wrap up, but the festival is tomorrow at Littlefield.
It is tomorrow. We're going to have some really interesting beers there. We've got a lobster beer, a lobster
my
goza.
gosh.
We've got an apple fennel ESB. There's a honey lavender pale ale.
I'm going. That's it. I'm
That's
going.
the difference. It's kind of the love that these people put into their beer.
Thank you
Really
guys
interesting stuff.
so much. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you
sure.
for being here. We'll
Thank
have
you
back.
for having us.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Wait. Hold on, Greg. I think we are going to get an extra brew.
I think we have our
Our-
Emmy Award-winning
our
producer here,
producer-
Charlie. Charlie, welcome.
Has-
Thanks
he's
so
a-
much.
His own homebrew
He
is
has his
here,
own homebrew. This
and he
is
wants
his
the
homebrew.
experts
Oh,
to
what
taste
that,
it.
folks?
Yeah, so
Charlie?
I just bottled it on Sunday, so it's not very carved up, but I just had a sip back there, and
And?
Let's see. What do you
I'm,
guys
I'm
think?
proud to share it.
Okay,
I'm proud to share it.
let's
I don't think it's
share.
going to kill
Beer
you.
is this?
It's,
What do you
you
call
tell
it?
Thank
me.
you, Greg.
Of course.
I call it the Dickinsonia IPA. This is my favorite fossil.
His own
The
branded.
Dickinsonia.
Fossil.
Yeah.
It's a fossil beer.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Delicious.
Cheers. I love it. It's an
Yeah?
IPA.
Does it work?
Cheers.
Well, there's a lot more
Cheers.
where that came
Cheers.
from. So,
I
it's
love
come
Okay.
over
it.
sometime.
Wow.
I would say this
All
is
right.
easily
Charlie,
one of the two
thank
best
you.
beers you've ever made.
Beautiful. I'll
Okay,
take it.
gentlemen,
Thank you, Charlie.
Tell
Thank
us
you, guys.
What do we think of his beer? It needs to develop. I feel.
It's a little green, but it's still very good. It's got a nice hop to malt ratio, so
Nice.
the bitterness is good.
Sweet.
Did you dry hop this?
We'll talk
no.
about it off
Next
the air.
time-
Charlie is
next time I
pumped.
would.
Okay.
Thank you guys very much for
Very
watching.
good.